Hey, what's up guys? Mint City here, back again with another video and some janky lighting, and today I'm finally bringing you another Marvel Snap video. I'm still as obsessed with the game as ever. I just haven't played too much this season, but I'm catching up slowly but surely, and I wanted to share one of my favorite decks that I've been playing basically since the start of this game. It's a deck that you can put together pretty early on, and there's very easy substitutions if you don't have every card, but almost all of these cards you can get very early on in the game, which is great for beginner players, and this thing just wrecks people and it's really fun. So without further ado, please leave a like, pop a sub, and comment down below what's your favorite deck, and let me know what cards you might need help with in substituting. I'm always here to help in the comments. So the deck is called Creatine. Now, why is it called Creatine? It's called Creatine because of this card right here, Strong Guy. Now, he is a 4 cost and 4 power, but if you get rid of your entire hand by the end of the game, then he gets plus 6 power. So you have a 4 cost card with 10 power. That's insane value, and I feel like until the latter half of the ranks or the very high up ranks, a lot of people sleep on this guy, and they just don't realize that he can be 10 power just like that. So that is what this deck is built around, but we also have a lot of other integral cards, which we will get into. Now, the cards that you definitely need to make this game work, this deck work, is Blade. He helps discard a card from your hand, and he's only 1 cost with 3 power, which is pretty good value, and he's doing what we want him to do. Another card that we definitely need is Swordmaster. You discard a card from your hand, kind of the same concept as a Blade Master. However, this is a 6 power card for only 3 costs. So we're getting high power, discarding our hand, which we want to do actually, and it's low cost. The rest of these cards are low cost, but with great value because we want to get and use as many cards as we can to empty out our hand. And then we use Blade and we use Swordmaster to get rid of the extras towards the end. Now we have Sunspot, great value. We have Raccoon, great value as well, easy to put down. Angela, another great value card. Okoye, buffing up all these 1 costs that we haven't drawn yet. Armor, because a lot of people start running Killmonger once they get him, and it can completely wipe out this deck, but Armor allows us to at least have 1 area locked down with 1-drops. Bishop, because we're going to be tossing a ton of cards down, and it buffs up Bishop quite a bit by the end of the game. And obviously Blue Marvel, just to buff all of the cards that we've swarmed the board with. So this is a great deck to run at the start of the game, and you will easily be flying through the ranks with it. And I feel like it's a very off-meta deck that people can't really figure out what you're doing. They're like, what, is this a discard deck? No, there's not a lot of discard going on. Wait, there's a lot of 1-drops. Is this a zoo deck? No, it's not a zoo deck. It's just hard for your opponents to really figure out what's going on until it's too late. But without further ado, let's get into some games with this deck so that you guys can see how it runs, and I'll explain what's going on as we use it. All right, here we are on to game 1. Now, we have an okay hand, no turn 1 plays, but that's not a big deal when we have so many 1-drops and we're able to get rid of cards extremely easily because of their low cost. We do have Okoye for a turn 2 play, which is fantastic. That's exactly what we want when we have her in our hand. So we're going to play her on the far rightmost area, kind of gambling because the location is not revealed yet, but we'll see if it pays off. And then on turn 3, we have our Bishop 2, which is usually a great turn 3 play because we get the most value out of him by getting him out on turn 3 as soon as possible. So that's where we play on mid location. They do have a Sunspot, but so far so good. Everything looks great. A Lockjaw, so we may be dealing with a discard deck. Now we just drew into Strong Guy, so now we're sitting really sweet. We have Blade, we have Swordmaster, and we have Strong Guy, so we know we guaranteed basically have the Strong Guy buff of plus 6. So it's looking pretty sweet. I don't know why I didn't snap as soon as I got that, but so we get an Odin on Jubilee, which is pretty sweet. Gets another Magneto and pulls the Bishop to the far leftmost location, which doesn't really affect us too much, which is great. So Bishop is basically useless from now on, but that's okay. Our opponent snapped, but we snapped immediately to show that we're very confident. Hopefully he retreats. We play Swordmaster and Blade to get rid of our hand, but then we're kind of debating. Sitting there, there's quite a few plays that we could do here. And then I opt in for the armor play instead. And hopefully we don't get rid of the blade. Sometimes you do just have to risk it for the biscuit, and if we got rid of our blade, we wouldn't be able to, our chances of buffing up Strong Guy would lessen. So things are still looking quite good. We're still ahead on these 2 locations. We know that 2 of their biggest cards are already played, so there's not going to be a huge last turn play. We play Blue Marvel, get the buffs up, and then we play Blade to discard our last card in our hand, and Strong Guy gets that huge buff. He plays Dr. Doom, and without that Strong Guy buff, he would have won the game, but Strong Guy comes in clutch like he always does, and we win with 24-17 mid and right lanes. Fantastic game. All right, on to our second game here. We again have a fantastic opening hand. We have Okoye for our turn 2 play. We even have a turn 1 play, which I debated on using and just kind of gambling and seeing if we could get the buff right off the bat. But we already have a possible turn 1, a guaranteed turn 2 and 3 and 4 play. So this is a fantastic opening hand, one of the best ones you could honestly have. So here I am debating whether to use the Rocket Raccoon, but I decide to save him to see where our opponent commits so that I do get a better guaranteed buff off of Rocket Raccoon. Now here is the Okoye play. I really hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I loved Wakanda Forever, and I should remember how to pronounce her name, but I am not remembering. So they play the mid lane Medusa, get the fat buff. We buff up our deck, which is fantastic with all of our little 1-drops. We get a lot of value out of her. We draw into an armor, which is also great. We even have Swordmaster. Things are just looking great. We have enough discard to get the Strong Guy buff by the end of the game. We played Bishop because that's our turn 3 play, getting a lot of value out of him. A Mr. Fantastic. I don't ever see him at all anymore. This guy's running a really weird deck. Draw into a Sunspot, which is a cheap card to throw down, which is good. Debating whether or not to thin out our hand a little bit or to do the turn 4 Strong Guy play. Armor is fantastic for Vormer since he's not going to get destroyed, but he plays a Colossus in the left lane as well. And the monster actually helps us out because we do have a Bishop and a Sunspot that continue to get buffed throughout the game, which is great. So I snap because I know the middle location is basically 1 for me. Play Rocket Raccoon, gambling that he will go for the rightmost location because all cards have to be turned on play 5. He does have a Gomorrah, so that kind of backfires, but we still get maximum value out of Rocket Raccoon. Our Bishop slowly getting buffed up from playing cards, and now we exceed the amount that he has in the mid lane. And now it's just a matter of discarding all of our cards so that we get the Strong Guy buff. And so we pretty much have this in the bag, especially with playing all of these cards to get the Bishop. We could even win in the left lane if he doesn't play. He's definitely in a tight situation here. It's looking dire, and we have 4 cubes on the spot. He goes for it anyways, calls in a Sentinel, which I have no idea why, and the Jessica Jones. He must have just had a really crappy hand, but here we go, getting that Strong Guy buff, a big tenor right there, and we win with 23-24, mid lane and right lane again. Fantastic. All right, guys, that was my off-meta deck. Don't forget to leave a like, pop a sub, and comment down below if you have any questions about the deck, especially if you need some suggestions for substitutions if you don't have all of the cards featured. I'd really like to help you with that. But I love you guys. I hope you guys are staying safe and take it easy.